Hi, this is Sylvia Durell. Like you, I've been missing the fun of our button meetings. So I came up with this way for us to get together and share buttons virtually. Believe it or not, our Hernando County Button Collectors Group has been around since 2015. 5 years already. We are a study group of the Manatee Button Club. Our goals are to introduce new collectors to the hobby and to educate the new collectors in our group. Pre-COVID, we were meeting on a monthly basis at the Hernando County Main Library in Brooksville, Florida. I hope you visited my blog reference to A buttons. This is a partial list of the A buttons listed and defined there. The missing types are ones you all submitted. Let's look at some of the buttons on the list that weren't submitted. Agate, aluminum, antiquarium, aristocrat, arita, architecture, and Art Nouveau. And now let's move on to your samples of A buttons. The first one is from Helen Acker. A is for airplane. Helen shares this about her choice. Not fancy, but a plastic realistic button. National Button Society large, like wingspan of a jet. Not a special button, but reminds me that my first flight was from Ohio to Florida, Tampa, for Christmas with my mom in 1975. Then in 1981, I moved to Tampa, and Mom was the one who got me started on collecting buttons. And she also adds, at these times, it's nice to continue communications with my button friends, even though we're not in the same room. And Buckingham's A is for animals. She explains, all the animals on the card would not be found in a circus wagon. I just love the card design. Tess Butts' A is for anchor. It's 1 inch wide and is made from glass and metal. Susan Calkins sent A is for art style. Her button is sterling silver and is signed by its maker, William Hutton. My A is for apple. It is 1 inch wide, and I believe the top is celluloid. Maybe the bottom is too. You see a lot of red apples. I was happy to find a yellow one. Annie Fraser's A covers A's for amethyst, animal, and asp. It's a gay 90s jewel and is considered unusual in that it is pictorial. It was made circa 1890s. Hedy Emerson's A is for antler. She explains that the button in the upper part of the photo is homemade by her husband. She bought an antler piece in Alaska for a dog chew, but then she saw antler buttons for sale. She says they were very expensive, so she decided that her husband could make them for her. He found a way to cut the button pieces off and then finished by drilling 2 small holes. JURGENSEN's A is for acrylic. This is 1.5 inches square with a dome and rhinestones. Marlene Miller's A is for acanthus. It's 1 inch wide and made from plastic. Acanthus is a Mediterranean plant with jagged leaves. It is used frequently in architecture and decorative arts as a stylized ornamental motif. It was first used by the Greeks in the 5th century BC on temple roof ornaments, on wall friezes, and on Corinthian columns. Sharon Mills's A is for Army. This button was worn in the French Revolution. She says that she bought it in New Orleans. Sue Moncrieff's A is for the initial A. Her button is an 18th century pearl. Virginia Rusk's A is for Antler. She sent it with this explanation. I met the man who makes these buttons out of antler. He makes bone and stoneware buttons as well. KYLA Sorvino's A is for Armed Forces, and it is very personal to her. She shared, "This button is still attached to my father's World War II jacket." John Henry Varney was a private first class in the Army, Pacific Theater, Oahu. Dad was in the Coast Artillery, a truck driver and a member of the Seacoast Commander's Army Orchestra. As an orchestra member, he performed with Betty Hutton, entertained Henry Fonda, Burgess Meredith, FDR, etc. The button is 1 inch wide and made of metal. Well, that's the end. Thanks to everyone who contributed. Start looking for your B button. To see a list of possibilities, go to my website's blog at www.holybuttons.com/blog/archives/08-2016. So that'd be in August 2016. Also, I'd really like to know your thoughts on this exercise. Please send me comments or suggestions at holybuttons@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye.